It's a very cold start to this week. Last week was very cold. We had to deal with quite a few frozen pipes. Now it's gone down to around negative teens, negative 20 about. I know that they shut down the schools on Friday, so you know it's bad when they shut down the schools. But hey, it's good job security. Had a few guys help out on the after hours. I did not because it was my fiance's birthday, so we went and took a mini trip with their friends. Got to have some fun. Glad that everyone else made it through the weekend. But what I've been noticing with all these frozen pipes is that most of the time it's a result of install and or stupidity. For example, like recently this past week, it's mostly been just maintenance guys removing insulation or making rooms where there are no heat sources that end up freezing pipes. Like a lot of these things could have been prevented. And that kind of reminds me of the first time I was ever on call, when I was actually a maintenance guy. Not HVAC, but just a regular building maintenance guy. And I think it was January as well. It was pretty cold like this. And I got a call that there was water dripping through the tenant ceiling. So I was like, all right, you know, that's pretty serious. I'm on my way. By the time I got there, I went inside, and I kid you not, there was a whole waterfall just coming through the bathroom ceiling. And you know, I was like, Jesus. So I ran upstairs because this was on the first floor and there was a second floor, older building. Pounding on the door, nobody's answering. I was like, oh God. But you know, I had my keys since it was one of my buildings. So I opened the door, all the lights were off, and it was frigid. First thing I noticed, obviously it was cold. Second thing, all the windows were wide open. Third thing, thermostat was completely off. Like it was turned off by the tenant. I ran over to the bathroom. I could hear the water spraying. So it was one of the tub supply lines. So I got my Sawzall, cut open the drywall, found where it was spraying out, ran down, shut off the water to the building. I had little to no training at all on this. So luckily this was the same location where we kind of have our shop. So I ran and got the solder kit, and I never soldered before. You know how there's that torch blanket to deflect the heat so you don't damage anything? With my soldering skills, which were none, I just ended up, I almost ran a stop sign. Good thing I saw that. So I just kept on trying to solder this pipe. I watched like a quick YouTube video, and I obviously was just not getting it. Like water, like the solder was just dripping everywhere, and I didn't want it to drip all over the carpet and shit like that. So it just ended up dripping on the heat blanket. But eventually I got it. I got the water back on, and you know, I called the cleaning company to come out and, you know, shampoo the carpet and everything to help prevent the mold. So came to the shop the next morning, and my supervisor was there. I told him what happened, and he opened up the solder kit and looked at the heat blanket. He was like, what the F did you do to this thing? And I was like, what? I was catching the solder. And oh, he just gave me the dirtiest look. But again, in my defense, I had zero training on this. I never saw anyone ever do this before. My only reference was a YouTube video. So with all these freezing pipe calls, we've mostly been doing pro press instead of solder, but it just kind of reminded me of my first burst pipe I've ever seen and repair attempt at it. It's gonna bring back some funny memories. So anyways, point of this video is that our first call is kind of out in the country. At least it's a nice, beautiful drive. Mostly just snow, but you know, at least we don't have to look at the city as much. And it's just a no heat, never been there before. So yeah, I'll see you guys over there. We got a pane furnace today that is not heating. I do not see an LED light at all in here. Let's open it up and see what's going on. Thermostat is calling for heat. Alright, so we got no LED light on the control board. Let's make sure we got 120 volts here. Alright, yep, we got 120 going to the transformer. Oops. And then we got 28 volts coming out of the transformer. Let's check our fuse. And look at that, the fuse is blown. Strange. Alright, I put in a 3-amp fuse. There was a 5-amp in there. And the reason why I don't use a popper is because depending on what kind of short you have, it can actually bypass your popper and fuse and take out your transformer if it's a really small short. So I like to put in a smaller fuse for testing so that it's more likely to pop my fuse instead of the transformer. Plus fuses are cheap anyway. There's been too many times I used a popper and it just took out my transformer anyhow. This wiring is very old. Oh. And probably definitely the wiring. Because that blew the fuse immediately as soon as I touched it. So I'm gonna try to cut this back, re-strip it, see if we get a better connection. This wiring is very old. I'm trying to get a good copper connection here. It's a little bit better. Let's give that a try. Quickly look along the rest of the wiring. Make sure this isn't cutting in. That looks kind of okay. Wire goes up the gas line, up to the ceiling, to the thermostat. Okay, let's give this a try. So good. Yeah, this is a mess. Just completely deteriorating. Got ignition. Filter's new. Make sure condensation starts coming out. Watch it for a little bit, make sure it doesn't blow another fuse. If it's all good to go, then I'll put in a 5-amp fuse. In the meantime, we can do a temporize. 63 in the return. Nice spot in the plenum. Aha, perfect. Alright, we're going to go grab a 5 amp fuse. We got some water coming out, that's good. Lots of salt. It's been very, very cold up here. A lot of fuses in there. Let's try this one. Ah, got plenty of 5s in here. Have to stock up on more 3s though. Ended up replacing the thermostat batteries too. They look pretty corroded. Have to reset which this is good timing so that I can pop in a new fuse. Still good. Got a 5. I can take this tape off. You know, flame sensor does look a little bit dirty, so I'm just gonna take that out and clean that quick. Just while I'm here. Stuff like that to help prevent callbacks. Yeah, I mean, not terrible, but could use a little bit of love. The diesel motor will run, satisfy the pressure switch, igniter will glow, gas valve is going to click open, burner's light, and the flame sensor senses the flame, ready at the control board that we have established flame. After some time the blower motor is going to kick on, we'll finish up getting our temperature rise, should be good to go. It's always good practice to make sure that your flame stays on when the top door is on as well, because sometimes if you can't see if there's a plug in the intake somewhere, when it starts to lose air, then it'll trip the pressure switch as well. You lose flame. I didn't see anything out there, but sometimes it can be in between. You just can't see it, so that's why it's good to double check. 121. Temp rise is looking good. Nothing too crazy. We are out of there. I did recommend annual maintenance, but I guess she said that they are selling the house in a couple weeks. I don't know, they still got a lot of stuff in the house, so personally I doubt it, but I don't know. Anyways guys, I hope that if you are the techs in the north that you're making it through this cold spell and trying to stay warm, especially if you're on any rooftops. I've been fortunate where I haven't had to do any rooftops when it's below 0 so far this year, but I probably just jinxed it. It's probably going to happen today now. Hope you guys are having a great day. As usual, see you guys in the next call.